28 years old.
Indeed.
Everyone thinks he's like 30, and it's like, don't get me wrong. By the time
He is like 30.
Hey, whoa.
He
Hey,
is. And hockey.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back, everyone. This is episode 97 of Stick Talk Hockey, the Connor McDavid episode.
Jeremy
Roenick episode.
That's a good pull.
That's a great pull. As always, I'm your host, Tico. This is my co-host.
I'm yours, Trilly.
We got a special guest in the building today, a guy who's been on the show before. We love having you around, Mr. Jackson Banman.
great to be back. Thanks for having me.
Love the jersey.
Yeah, Flag Day. Got to represent Canada.
Yeah.
We got a big Canada-USA game tonight.
Big Canada-USA game tonight.
This is my 72 Summit Series jersey, and I mean, this tournament's basically a continuation of the Summit Series. So.
Yeah, in a lot of ways it is.
Yeah, why not rock it?
Seeing as we're doing predictions on the game itself later, let's also do a prediction on the anthem.
Oh, booze.
Booze?
I
Course,
can't wait.
booze.
Oh, I hope they just absolutely.
They're gonna get booed relentlessly, and you're not gonna hear a thing because they're gonna mute it.
Just before we go off on what we got laid out, did you see? I can't remember the name of the reporter, and I'm sorry I don't give you credit, but I'm sure he doesn't care. There was one guy that was actually asking guys in the U.S. and Canada locker rooms the follow-up question of, well, what would you do if it was your country?
Right.
Because, like, Marchand comes out this week, and he's like, it's just so sad. Shouldn't be booing. These guys got nothing to do it. Forget how big of Trumpers the Eichel and Kachuk brothers are, but I digress. And it's like, and then this one guy was actually, I didn't recognize him, but he was actually the question, okay, well, what would you do if it was the other way around? And they're like, and then an anonymous U.S. player was like, yeah, no, absolutely. I'd be doing a whole lot more than boo if I got threatened with invasion.
Saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
And that's the thing, right? Is that for a lot of people, I mean, you don't want to
Incite them.
Yeah, you don't want to incite them. You don't want to take too hard of a stance either way. But it is that follow-up question of, like, if it was your country, I guess I'd probably be down with that too.
This is not a political or cultural podcast, but that second question and follow-up on all these hotbed issues of the last 8 years or longer has been the issue where it's like they ask the hot topic question, but they don't do the follow-up where it's like, hey, you're unreasonable. Like, what are you talking about?
You are unreasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I digress.
Yeah, fair enough. That we don't have to get into it too much, but obviously, I mean, it's a big topic right now. This is the most tension these two countries have ever had, and it's the first time in 10 years we've seen them play against each other.
We were stabbed in the back with literally no heads up. Or like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I'm for it.
No, I'm 100% for it as well. I think that at the Bell Center the other night they had the PA announcer ask everyone to be respectful, and it's like, what a way
good.
What a way to get them to not.
So did you see what happened in the U.S. Finland game? So the announcer goes like, "Please, ladies and gentlemen, respect the national anthems."
Yeah.
And there's a silence, and someone yells, "F that!" And you're like, "Goddamn right."
I mean, and it's funny just like watching the NHL like try to pretend it's not happening, muting it, and then they did it this morning too in the Finland-Sweden game. They're like, "Please, everyone, respect the anthems."
Who would boo Finland, Sweden?
Exactly.
Nobody. We love those guys.
Exactly.
Everyone loves these two. Why? Because they're stand-up nations. Fantastic.
Yeah.
We love them.
So for the podcast today, y'all can't see me. I'm in the Jonesy chair. He's gonna be gone for a couple of weeks here.
Hi, Jay.
Hi, Jay. How you doing, buddy?
I wish you were here, brother.
So, gonna be a little bit of a different format here for the next couple of weeks, but I'm excited about it. Should be a lot of fun today. And, I mean, out the gate, Four Nations first impressions. How did we feel about that Canada-Sweden game?
I loved it. I was so blown away. Like, as someone who is such a staunch critic going into this event, like, you couldn't pay me enough to care.
I still don't care.
I mean, like, it was phrased best, and I forget
both of you are legitimately out of your minds, for the record.
Can I build
no,
off that?
No,
Give me a sec.
let Trill get.
Well, Trill go off, and
like,
then I'll build off of.
I'm quoting a quote, so it's very loose, but like Merrick was quoting someone. He said it's a tournament with no history and no future, and like that's very valid, and I think that's exactly why I find it hard to care or hard to buy in at first. But seeing how much, like, of course, the players were gonna like hit a new level when they put on the country crest, but like you still had that doubt after having terrible All-Star game after terrible All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
The NHL's missed on so many events so often. It was so easy just to buy into being like, nah, great, but like whatever. Where's the Olympics? Where's the World Cup? Where's this? Where's that? So what we got from it, I'm really thrilled. And also to have them come out and be like, yeah, this isn't going to happen again, but we are doing World Cup. We are doing the Olympics, and we are going to do an All-Star game every 2 years. Like, I like the format. I love that they have a plan, and I like that it's a really nice, genuine balance.
Yeah, I mean, you have players hyping up this Canada-USA game, saying it's the biggest game of their career.
That's because the NHL robbed them of 10 years of international hockey. This is all they got.
That's factual. That's
like
factual.
finally the NHL making good decisions. Like, I mean, All-Star game lost its sauce, but there's still a place for it. It's great for the city. It's a great live event. It's good for the sponsors, unfortunately, and I hate.
Great for kids.
Absolutely.
Kids drive the game.
Yeah, well, like, me and your kids together, like, we would talk about the All-Star game every freaking once a year.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, see what Patrick Kane did?
And you see Crosby?
I think that if they decide to do the All-Star game every second year,
yes,
that'll add
brings the heat.
It brings the heat, right? I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons this tournament's been so great is because it's been so long. But and it's the same thing we see with the Winter Classic, right? The Winter Classic was so electric out the gate to start in the Stadium Series, and it's totally lost all of its sauce because they're doing 3 of them a year.
But that being said, well, first of all, Florida Winter Classic, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
But when it was in Seattle last year, where you went, Jonesy went too.
Yep.
Like, even though we're in Canada, we're just over the border. Like, we're 200K up from Seattle. There was still the hype about it. Where it's like, hey, we got one on the West Coast. This is sweet.
Yeah. It was great.
When my team's in the Winter Classic, they've been in 2. It's exciting.
Yeah.
You know, it's the Stadium Series that killed the Winter Classic.
Oh,
it is
100%.
You know what I mean?
It's a meaningless event to try and pack more seats in a venue that.
This is the Stadium Series. The Four Nations is the Stadium Series of international hockey, and that's why I wasn't hyped for it. That being said, Canada-Sweden was like one of my. It's one of my favorites. It's my favorite style of hockey game.
Yeah.
Canada-Sweden was a roller hockey game. I don't know if you guys have ever played roller hockey.
I've watched it.
Yeah, it is. It's all about possession of the puck, and not like in a traditional ice hockey sense where you dump it in, you regain possession, you move it back. It is no. The puck is so bouncy, you have to simply just keep passing and moving it around, and it is about who is a higher percentage of capitalizing on scoring chances.
Sure.
It's not about who had more shots. It's about who had better quality chances and who buried on more of them. The D is about moving the puck. The forwards is about waiting for that perfect opportunity. And Canada-Sweden was that. It was trading back and forth to offensive juggernauts, quite frankly. I loved that game. I loved Canada-Sweden.
I'm not going to lie. One of the best hockey games some of the most fun I've had watching a hockey game in years.
I mean, it summed up perfectly by that first assist by Crosby. Who was it? McKinnon got it?
Yeah.
Yep.
That might be the best goal I've ever seen. And it's not even like, it's such a highlight reel. When Crosby opens up the way he does, he's a lefty like me. He's in front of the goalie on the left side of the front of the net. And when he draws off to his left by making that move to make it seem like what most players do that aren't Sidney goddamn Crosby, is they take the forehand, they put it in their backhand, and they roof it, and they just throw it on net.
Yeah.
Sure.
But when he does that, he draws both defenders that are in front of the net to suck over to him, including the goalie, to bite and have to go hard against high up on that post. You know this. You're a goalie.
Yeah.
He has to bite on that. And then to make that pass where it's a one-timer, like through the legs, slam back through the legs, cross ice, to where McKinnon, he doesn't know if he's there. He's had his back turned in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But he knows he should be there. And it's not who's that guy in the Pens that Jonesy looked, Danton Heinen? It's not Heinen. It's Nathan goddamn McKinnon who's there in the spot and buries. It was
Thank
like,
God it's
okay.
not Danton
Like
Heinen.
that for me was like, I see the light.
And
I get
if
this
you,
tournament now.
Yeah.
If you watch their power play practice, like it was the exact play they'd drawn up.
Yeah.
It was just he had his back turned and made an insane pass.
It was incredible. It was incredible.
It was.
You don't see that in an All-Star game.
No.
But this brings the juice now.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And I mean, for Sidney Crosby, look, I'd love to think that he's going to be there in 2026. I still see no reason why he won't be.
Mm-hmm.
But, for a guy at his age, who knows what injury things look like by then, to get this moment, like that was a Sidney Crosby legacy moment.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd chanting his name, 3 assists, one on the game winner to Mitch Marner.
First star of the game. Entire place chanting Crosby. That was a Canadian heritage moment right there. Absolutely. I loved it. And then I'm shakier about Team Canada than I have been in the past. I mean, the last time we saw best on best for and I'm not counting the World Cup. That was 2016 was fine, but 2014 was like the best version of Team Canada, the most dominant we've ever seen in Sochi.
Yeah.
And that was a Babcock-led defense where you had Carey frickin' Price in net and Roberto Luongo.
Yep.
Oh, Finland ties it. Sorry, we got the Finland-Sweden.
Yeah, we got
game in the
Finland-Sweden going right now.
It's a heater.
It's
can
good.
can I be the one to jump off the ledge and say Drew Doughty should not be here?
No, you're wrong.
You're absolutely right. It is insanity that Drew Doughty's on this roster and Evan Bouchard is not.
He made
I'm an Evan Bouchard hater.
He made like 3 bad
Give me 10 minutes of phone research. I'll find
he made
better
3
D-men than
turnovers that I would
Bouchard.
bench a beer leaguer for in the first period.
You do not, Jackson, are you for real telling me right now that you don't want to watch those Bouchard bombs from McDavid for Team Canada on the world stage?
No, I don't need him. I don't need his offense, or I don't
That's
need his.
crazy.
I don't need. Okay, it's a roller hockey game, right? Like I talked about.
It's not a roller.
It's not though.
Hear
It's
me out.
still
Let me
ice
build
hockey.
off it. Okay. Canada does not have nowhere near the goaltending they did in 2014.
Factual.
They have nowhere near the defensive core they did in 2014.
True.
What could you sum up the Canadian defensive core as right now? Puck-moving defensemen who build their game off of regroups, cycles, breakouts.
Yeah.
So it's all about empowering the forwards to score because this is in an unreal forward core. I don't think Team Canada's had a forward core this fast, minus Mark Stone. You know what I'm saying?
But Mark Stone works so goddamn hard.
I don't want Bouchard back there because of that guy's defensive zone turnovers. And the reason I have Drew Doughty, and Drew Doughty was put in a last 6 months. Yeah, Drew Doughty shouldn't be on the team because he was injured. He's
played 4 NHL games this
year.
Yeah,
he's off his rock, right?
That's my point. And it doesn't even have to be Bouchard. Like we could switch the conversation to anyone else, and it would still be a valid argument at this point.
And I think this argument overweighs all of it. The lack of international play over the last 10 years means that you need a guy like Drew Doughty, who was the 7th D-man in 2010, who was there in 2014, who's got World Cups, Norris trophies.
And I disagree.
You need that guy in the locker room who should have been the 7th D-man to be like, boys, calm down. It's fine.
I'm not
we
gonna
have
lie.
Crosby for that.
I'm not gonna lie. I do understand that.
He can't do it all.
Because,
can't do it all.
But hear me out here. This tournament is a tournament with no history, no future. It's a primer for World Cup, which is then a primer for the Olympics. You should be using this as a scot-free chance to give a tester to a bunch of guys who you may otherwise not have looked at, who will be in their prime when the Olympics get there. This tournament doesn't matter at the end of the day. Whoever wins, we won't talk about it in 20 years.
No.
This should be used as a chance to build your roster and figure out where you're going to be, not where you've been. Canada,
I completely agree.
I just don't understand.
That's why Connor Bedard should be on this team.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
Yes, because you want Connor Bedard to be a game breaker in 2026.
He's not a game breaker on the Blackhawks, so I don't want him on Team Canada.
No,
but
but
the Blackhawks are terrible in the first place.
Exactly.
They're horrific.
He's going to bring only bad habits. I hear what you're saying.
Bring Macklin Celebrini and Connor Bedard and put them on a line together.
I would have liked to have seen Celebrini over Bedard. I will admit that Celebrini is just unreal.
He's a freak.
Oh.
Bedard is a sponge. That dude is constantly learning. You fill him with a room of vets and high IQ international players for just one tournament, and it would undo and then so many proper and solid habits moving forward.
Maybe.
We would see a different Bedard, and I believe that wholeheartedly.
Do you know who missed the 2006 Team Canada Olympic team? It was
Sidney Crosby.
Sidney Crosby.
But that's the Olympics. That's totally different from this.
We got Olympics next year, so you wonder if
Exactly.
I could see a future where you put Bedard on this, depending on this tournament. I could see Bedard being on Team Canada next year.
See, but like, that's my point. Is like you
Exactly.
have the Olympics coming up.
Yes.
You should be putting him in now so he knows what best on best is.
Plus, I mean, like again, you're look. The ratings have been fantastic. We'll get to that. But overall,
in the
like
US especially.
if you want to sell this,
Mhm.
is like we already have a Connor Bedard Canadian moment in the World Juniors. Do you not want to see that here?
Was Eberle there in 2014? Eberle had tons of Team Canada moments.
Yeah, but Eberle's not Connor Bedard.
It's a weak
Like that's
argument,
like
but
apples and oranges.
Yeah.
That's not the same.
You can't just put him on the team just because he's Connor Bedard. I'm sorry. He just because of who your name is doesn't mean gets you on the team.
But
But it worked for Doughty.
no,
That's my point.
No.
He played 4 games and he was injured
Yes.
with a broken ankle. He was out for 6 months. Why is this
He's
guy
played
playing
four games.
best on best
we're talking about
international
guys
play?
who done it and could do it. And you're
He's
like, yeah,
still getting his
Bedard
legs
should
back.
do it. Doughty should do it, but Doughty has done it.
Okay, yeah, but
like the thing about 2010 is like you said he was a 7th D, right?
Mm.
And he came to that tournament as a 7th defenseman and ended
Showed
up
late for the gold
not
medal game.
playing 7th D minutes at all. They put belief in that. What was he, 22 at the time?
Yeah, if that.
They put that faith in him because he got hot and he ended up playing. What did he end up playing? 124 minutes for Team Canada in 2010.
How many games is that?
7 games.
That's pretty good.
And I'm
That's
saying-
not bad for a 7th defenseman.
I'm not
if you
that guy.
if you slam Bedard in there as the 13th forward, he's not going to be the 13th forward for the
No.
whole tournament. He's going to be in your top 6.
Can
He
I
will figure it out.
be honest with you? I'd rather have him than Mark Stone on this team. I
I
don't need
100%.
Mark Stone.
That's
I
another
don't
great
need Mark
point.
Stone's 200-foot game. I want Bedard or Celebrini.
And I would like to see them grow that 200-foot game because we don't even know if Mark Stone's going to be healthy for the Olympics. This guy comes attached with a stretcher when he gets to the arena.
I know that Sidney Crosby already had a cup in 2009, but
Mm.
he's
Two
kind of
finals.
he's kind of a freak in his own way. But like I do think there's something to be said for these guys getting to, they work out in the summers together. Sure, they hang out, they talk, these players, right?
Mm.
But getting to see these greats compete in these moments, like if you're a young player, that's got to be huge.
Yeah.
You need that exposure. Like, you just need it.
Like I was gonna make the point about McDavid, that like McDavid getting to watch Crosby be Crosby here. Does that help their playoff run this year?
Probably.
Mhm.
It wouldn't shock me at all.
There's things you just learn from guys by being in the room and being on the bench that you
And-
don't otherwise pick up.
Exactly,
Like,
and actually competing. You know what I mean? Not working out in the off season, not talking about it. Like when you see people in those moments that you learn from, right?
I think you're right. I think you're just getting Crosby's, like, everything he learned. I think you're getting it from the wrong place, in that Crosby didn't pick this up in, like, international play. He picked it up from
No, I
Mark
agree.
Recchi and Lemieux, and it's a bigger discussion we don't need to have today because then we're fully off the rails. But Dard has nobody to learn off
Nobody.
of in Chicago.
that's also the point, is at least he would have 2 weeks, At least he'd have a couple practices, for God's
playing
sakes.
with
You can't-
yeah,
you can't be good
absolutely.
on 2 weeks. Yeah.
But I mean, like, he would get a sense of what it feels like.
Yes.
He could get
Yeah.
a sense of what the pace is.
I-
Like,
I
Maybe
really-
a wake up call.
That's also my
exactly.
point.
Splash
It's
of cold
like,
water in
if-
the face. Be like, man,
you're
I am
getting-
off.
if you're getting blown by in best on best play and you want to be there, and like next year, 5 years from then, if you
Mhm.
want to be a constant Olympic and World Cup staple, like, I'm sure he does.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
There's
we're
nothing better than getting blown by. but-
looking at an American team that's blowing past Canada talent-wise, right? We'll see what happens tonight, obviously, and through the duration of this tournament. But like we've talked so much over the last couple of years about the Americans and how much better they've gotten. And if you want to add some real game-changing explosiveness, we're not just talking about the Olympics next year. We're talking about 2030 as well. You need guys like Bedard and Celebrini to be absolute Canadian heroes.
Yeah. I think just my argument is that, like, they didn't add Doughty and cut Bedard. two different
Yeah.
positions.
No. I completely.
I
agree
think they
with
took
that,
the wrong forwards, but they picked the right D man.
Although, you know who should be here over Drew Doughty without a question in my mind?
Don't say Bouchard. I swear to God.
Mackenzie Weegar.
Yeah, that was gonna be the
I like
second
that.
name.
I like that one. Yeah,
That was
I like
the second
that pick.
name I was looking at.
Who on Team Canada besides Petrolangelo has done anything internationally for Canada? Because Petro was there in 2014 in Sochi.
Yep.
Who and
Are we talking about
and
just
then
defensemen?
Well, and Petro didn't even come to the tournaments. What am I talking about? Is there anyone there? Oh, that probably has something to do with it, actually.
It probably does.
Because who's on team right now that was there in Sochi?
Like the oldest defenseman on this team is Colton Parayko.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything.
I mean, besides
no.
Drew Doughty.
Yeah, so I would guarantee you that
That's why.
Doughty wasn't going to make this team. And then, because right now Theodore's hurt, they're calling up Harley. He's the first guy coming up.
Yeah.
Not your Bouchard.
Or
sorry.
Weegar. That's insane.
That also just doesn't make sense to me, but like whatever.
No, you bring in Doughty because you lost the leadership in
Yeah.
Petrolangelo. You need that guy who's been there in an actual tournament that gives a shit. You know?
Yeah. It's not even that I don't like Thomas Harley. I think Thomas Harley is a very fine defenseman. It's just that he's not like a best on best defenseman. I don't get it.
I'm biased. I hate Ottawa, so.
One thing we mentioned the ratings briefly. Team USA's win was the most watched hockey broadcast in the US since Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, surpassing any regular season game this year. Both Four Nations games over 1 million viewers in the US. For a struggling sport, I mean, we kind of got to give some credit to the NHL here on the timing. And Trill, I want to just call you out a little bit for this because the timing is actually perfection. The Super Bowl's done. The NBA All-Star Game is a joke.
NBA in a hole is a joke.
We're not even at like preseason baseball yet. There's legitimately nothing on. Like on ESPN, it's probably going to be the number one story tonight.
I think it's playoffs for Australian rules football. So.
Yeah, you know what? And I'll also walk that back because like the other thing I didn't consider, which I should have remembered, being such a players podcast and getting into the nitty gritty of CBAs and so often.
Yeah.
The players didn't want it at the beginning of the season because that makes their season freaking longer.
Yeah.
They wanted to keep their vacation and they wanted their 2.5 months to recoup, maybe 3 if you don't make playoffs. But like,
yeah,
now being on the boat,
yeah,
tubing, unreal. I don't want to be in a hockey rink in August. Get
yeah,
out of here.
I like it makes
Balance,
sense. Yeah. It's the best thing you're gonna be able to get because end of season, everyone's already phoning it in and planning their trip to Bermuda or the Bahamas or Miami.
Yep.
And these people aren't going to Sandals. They're going to something you never even heard of.
Oh, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Something Drake's mentioned.
Something Drake's mentioned.
Drake, you lost.
Okay, so we love to be wrong on this podcast. It'll come out after, obviously, the Canada-USA game. It's going to come out Tuesday. Y'all got a prediction for Canada-USA tonight?
Mm-hmm.
What
US 5-3, 5th goal being an empty net goal.
All right.
And then Canada gets them in the final.
Love it.
I defer to you.
To me?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, this is NHL rules. There's no double IHF trickery around here. So my first prediction is a Jordan Binnington versus Connor Hellebuck goalie fight.
Maybe if Russia was here and then we could get Kochekov down there, yeah, maybe.
I could buy in a Binnington fight. I
would
can't buy in a
love-
Hellebuck fight.
No, he would never. I'd love to see Binnington fight.
Who's the backup for the US right now?
Binnington versus JT Miller incoming.
I'm in.
I'm taking 4-3 Canada in overtime.
I think it doesn't bode well for Canada to win this game. I
With
think you lose
Nathan
this
McKinnon scoring the game winner in overtime. That guy hates passing.
He wanted that game winner so
he
bad.
He wanted
man.
it so bad against Sweden.
I've never seen him dive so hard into his zone before, and I've watched a lot of Nathan McKinnon games. That was crazy.
3-on-1 with McDavid, not passing. Not even once.
Looks off McDavid. He's like, whatever, dude.
Whatever, dude.
Where's your ring?
Yeah. Trill, what you got?
I'm going to go 4-3 USA overtime. absolute heartbreak. Yeah.
I almost prefer.
How is it heartbreak if you said you don't like this tournament?
It's a heartbreak for Canada. I've
Yeah.
already walked back my take
yeah,
on
we're
that.
we're past that now.
I've already walked back my take on hating this tournament. I actually appreciate what it's done moving forward,
yeah.
and I'm happy to be wrong. Like
Yeah.
like let's not get it twisted. As much as I love being right, I prefer to be wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
Sure like it a lot, it seems.
So
Yeah, you know what? That's why I do what I do.
so
They don't pay me to be wrong. They just enjoy it.
You're getting paid?
wait, you guys are getting paid?
Well, like, we're getting paid? What?
So 8 teams, they said. They announced 2028 they'll have another one of these, a World Cup of sorts, right?
Yeah.
With no gimmick teams, no Team North America, under 23 or anything like that. First of all, like, obviously they're going to have to get involvement from someone outside, right? Because no other countries can roster a full team here from the NHL. But which nations do you guys think it will be?
Wait, they're saying no Team North America, no Team Europe again?
Correct.
How the hell are they going to get 8 teams?
I know, like, they're going to have to get either double IHF involvement or straight to the, like, national.
Yeah, but they don't work
Groups?
together well with the HIF. It's interesting that they would do that. I didn't see that because, Team Europe was Slovakia, Slovenia, Germany,
Yeah.
Norway, Denmark, etc.
Switzerland, yeah.
Switzerland, thank you. Only the Swedes, Finns, Russians, Americans, Canadians
Yeah.
had a full roster.
Yeah.
The Czechs as well. Czechia, sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're gonna be in for sure. The Czechs will be there.
Yeah.
The Czechs
I'm-
belong there with how well they've done in the junior,
I
in the juniors.
thought
Obviously,
I heard Germany confirmation. They were one of the
They don't
team
have
names in
enough
the
guys.
mix.
they don't.
But you
Like-
could borrow guys from the DEL easy, and the DEL would love that exposure.
Well,
Come on
I
now.
think they
Correct.
might have to do it exactly that way. Like
That's the
go
only way to do it.
go to the leagues themselves and say, hey, do you want the exposure of having your players coming here? Because we only have, I guess we have
I don't see why you wouldn't. Honestly,
28 active Czechs in the NHL, but like 8 of them have
Gosh.
played less than 3 games this year.
Mm.
and I mean maybe
and most
maybe
of
you're
them are goalies.
I was say, who's starting Mrazek?
yeah,
yeah.
Mrazek and Vanacek. Yeah,
Oh boy.
I mean
Talking
maybe,
about Canada having a goaltending issue.
yeah.
maybe you see some call ups from junior teams. Maybe like guys who are like on
Yeah.
the cusp. Like Marco Kasper arguably could have played last
Swiss.
year. He was so like there you go. If
There's
you're
only-
calling up guys that are Swiss, I mean you got Nico Hischier, you got
There's only 7 Germans active in the NHL right now.
I was gonna say
that's
like
crazy.
Grubauer, Sider,
Yeah.
Reichel, Dry.
Yeah.
I played the 5th.
You're missing a big one there, Tim.
Oh, Stutzla.
Yeah.
I told you I hate Ottawa.
John Paterka,
This-
Nico Sturm.
This man is German to his core. You were listing those names, and I could just hear like national music and Hitler.
Do you wanna-
shouting.
Hey,
Hey,
we're over
hey,
that.
do
Okay,
you wanna
that's an
throw your-
American thing now.
Do you want to throw your heart to the crowd?
No, absolutely not.
Swiss as well. Like there's only 11.
That took a second. That really took a second to ping around in my brain.
There's only 11 Swiss players active in the NHL right now, but like it would be a shame not to see a team of Switzerland.
I think it's
Right?
a mistake
Like
by
Roman
the NHL.
Josi, Timo Meyer, Nico Hischier.
I think it's a mistake by the NHL not to a team Europe. There's too many good European players from small countries.
Yeah.
And I would say the same thing about Team North America, but knowing the NHL, they would go too hard. Like, remember Team North America in 2016? We're doing it again, and it just would fall flat. That's the NHL way.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame because I actually thought that was pretty fun, but it was also like it was. It
A
it
moment
didn't have
in
the hype
time.
that we have now, right? Because it was still coming off of Sochi. Like it was, I think 2 years after Sochi?
See.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the same level of hype at all.
See, like, I would actually be like more excited looking at like a U23 Europe and North America team.
Yeah, it's pretty
Like,
cool, right?
Oh, that would
Especially-
be fire.
Especially now that we have the precursor of what like came of that North American team.
Right.
Like
Right.
you couldn't escape it in the first game with
Dude.
the broadcast They were talking about all of the U.S. like every broadcast basically. They've been like, this guy was on Team North America. This guy was on Team North America. You'll probably hear it 10 times tonight.
In
at
our group
least.
chat, I sent the roster. I couldn't believe they were so much better than I remembered.
I mean,
Yeah,
you have.
I remember Matt Murray starting, which is looking back hilarious because he's the only goalie out of the three who's in the AHL.
Yeah,
On a team that had Hellebuck and John Gibson.
I hear me. I know Gibson's getting a rough go in Anaheim, and everyone's like he's washed. He's
that's
overrated.
the Ducks, though.
He
like,
was so good
He
from
was.
like 2015 to 2023.
This NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going. But that just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out and games left for you to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
and hear me out. The Ducks, they posted this thing on social media. He's played his 500th game.
Yeah.
So they brought him out like, I guess it's a side-by-side that's been modified to be like a Zamboni for his ODR. But they
Nice.
brought it out after practice, commemorating, his stuff and whatever. And, he did not look stoked. He didn't look happy. He didn't look flattered. They're like, oh, we got one more gift for you. And he was like, okay, bring it. Like,
Yeah,
cool.
cool.
And they brought it in. He was like, that's
Thanks.
great. He didn't like touch it, didn't get in it, didn't look at it. They were like, yeah, get in there, drive it with your skates. That'd be fun. And he was just like, eh. And then they just like drove it off the ice. He
I mean,
didn't
can you
care.
blame
that
him?
that
No.
man wants out.
Yeah, get him out of there.
He's
But
like,
dude-
500 games, so what? I've asked to be out at 300.
500
Get me out of
losses.
here.
Yeah.
But dude, McDavid, Scheifele.
I got the forward group here.
Yeah,
you
go
got
do it. Give me
you
hot
got-
names.
Matthews, McKinnon, McDavid, JT Miller, Sean Couturier, Jack Eichel, Johnny Gaudreau, Dylan Larkin,
Rest in peace,
Sean
Gaudreau.
Monahan, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Brendan Sabb, Mark Scheifele, Jonathan Drouin.
That's 3/4 of an All-Star game right there.
That's crazy.
100%.
Like
That's a crazy team.
ugh.
I would love to see a U23 Europe and North America, knowing how much that team blossomed.
Oh my god, that'd be insane.
I would have no problem with that. That's why I thought it was a little bit peculiar that they said no gimmick teams. Maybe they'll change their mind on it. Obviously, that's 4 years away.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, we all have these great ideas, especially in like hockey ops and business.
Mm.
But like, if it's not good for the other partner's shareholders or their interests at the time,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how good the idea is or how much it makes sense. If they say no, you're just screwed anyways, and you have to go back to plan B
Yeah.
or C. Like, a lot of the times, as I'm learning after being in an office, it's that, yeah, what the fans want, it was already thought of.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
great, brilliant hockey minds in that office thought of it. It
Yeah.
didn't go through because insurance. It didn't go through because sponsors. It didn't go through because you have another contract over here. It didn't go through because
Fair.
of league mandates. It didn't go through because this.
Yeah.
There's so many different like geopolitical
Totally.
also factors that go into that
Mhm.
that like it's not as simple.
No, it's not.
It's
Yeah.
really not.
I was reading up on the Olympics that were in China, that the NHL was going to,
Yeah.
and then because of COVID, they didn't pull out because of like the players getting COVID. It was because people had to be in China for 2 weeks prior,
Right.
and then stay for like 2 to 4 weeks afterwards to isolate in China. So the NHL was like, Yeah, we're not missing out on a month of McDavid for something we don't make money off.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're talking about.
No, it's it goes from you missing like what a week of sales, 2 weeks of sales,
2 weeks, yeah.
to now you're missing a month and a half.
6 weeks, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
forget it. I'm not doing that. There's no way any owner's buying into that.
No, they're a business.
Yeah,
You
it's a
know?
business at the end of the day.
Yeah, like, as great as some ideas seem, like when you get to the nitty-gritty of like the way that things shake out, it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And we just don't hear about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get to Detroit here. Get kind of out of the Four Nations talk because we'll have the finale at the end for next episode here.
Are we gonna skip over Lankinen?
That's the one thing I wanted to talk about before we get to that
Okay.
is Nashville actually, and at the beginning of this season when they made the Askarov trade, a whole lot of people were very upset about prioritizing Saros over Askarov. But now, that doesn't look too bad yet. I mean, Askarov's only played 13 games in the NHL this year with an 896. Nothing too crazy. He's lighting up the AHL.
Mm-hmm. All-star.
But Kevin Lankinen, the backup goalie for Nashville last year, they let him walk. He goes to Vancouver for $1 million. And he's
Not a
now
lot.
taken the starting job tonight, or this morning, I suppose, over UC Saros after a pretty rough first performance against the Americans.
Yeah, currently tied. Was it 3-3 right now? Going-
Yeah,
they just
third's just starting here. as
Just
we're
dropped the puck for
recording.
the third.
Yeah, rough.
I want to start this off by saying shipping Askarov was dumb.
It was.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Askarov could have been following the shoes of Saros, where Saros was the backup and then
Behind Rinne.
50-50 behind Rinne,
Yeah.
and Rinne was the backup 50-50 behind Vokun, and
Yeah.
Vokun was the backup 50. There's a long history of good goalies in Nashville. That's
Yeah.
how they build their team.
Vokun was the guy.
Yeah, they. Oh,
Um,
So-
look
Remember
at
when he
her-
got hit in the head?
I was about to say
I
Keith
mean-
Ballard.
Keith Ballard,
Yeah.
yeah. Two-hand chopped him.
all-time defensive blunder, maybe?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
dude.
I mean, I just heard Thomas Vokun's name, and that immediately, like,
the first thing you
clip
think of.
played in my head.
I think of two things. I think of Thomas Vokun. I think I'm getting chopped in the head like he was like beheaded in the French Revolution, and I think of him somehow stealing Fleury's job in the playoff run in like
Yes.
2012. It was
Yeah.
weird. It was like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
No, we're gonna have to run that clip for our younger listeners who haven't seen it before. But yeah,
Learn some history,
That was
kids.
something, Yeah.
Check on Vokun, stopped by Vokun, and then Kovalchuk scores! Vokun made the save, he couldn't find it. And Vokun is down in his net. I believe Keith Ballard broke his stick and it may have caught Vokun in the head.
Banks it into the empty net.
Oh boy.
Here's going to get a better look at what happens. Oh,
No, yeah, they really did screw up though, shipping out Askarov there, and then I mean even Kevin Lankinen. I mean this guy's been out of his mind this year.
And I completely disagree on that. And I
Oh.
brought numbers.
Oh, okay, Hit me
I
with it.
brought numbers.
I like-
Before
I
I
like
dive
numbers.
into this,
Sure.
I want to touch on Askarov really quick
Yeah,
because the Sharks the Sharks clearly jumped on a vulnerable team
Yeah.
oh, so
that
smart.
was acting clearly on emotion.
Yeah.
Greer's like a genius
Because-
right now.
Yeah, he is.
Like I get that it's kind of a slight when the goalie who's the backup who hasn't played much is like, I want the starting job or trade me. Like I
Third
get
string,
that
not
you're
even
gonna be
backup.
like, hey now. But also
now.
like pull your head out of your ass just a little bit and actually take a look at the asset you have
Yeah.
and take a look around the league and take a look at the exact model being implemented by the Hurricanes right now,
Mhm.
who have been nonstop dominant for the 3 years they've rolled it out. They now have Kochekov playing like a 60-40 split,
Yep.
if not more, and it's worked brilliantly. The guy is so competent, and yeah, even if you want to play hardball, do it. Throw him to the Wolves. Give him 8 games.
Yeah.
And let him flounder. If it goes bad, too bad. Let him get
sure.
shelled 6 goals,
Yeah.
5 goals. Maybe he puts together a good performance and then gets throttled again. Dump him back to the A and go, hey, that's what we were trying to tell you. Trust us.
He's been electric in the A too.
You are going to be our starter, but you're getting throttled.
Yeah.
You are very good, but you're not that good. Trust us.
The
Oh,
only
I like it.
scary thing about that, right, is goaltending is just such a mental position.
Mhm.
That's like it's more mental than physical. I'm kind of believing, and you really do have to be careful about keeping a goalie's head in the right space. I think that's really the only job of a coaching staff when it comes to their goalies.
Yeah, but I mean, the guy's hungry. He's
Yeah.
reaching for the brass ring.
Yeah.
Give it to him.
Yeah.
If it doesn't fit, that's fine.
Yeah.
Keep him around. It will one day.
Okay,
Sure.
back to the prompt.
Kevin
If
Lankinen.
knowing what you know now, we're what are we 6 months in the season?
Mhm.
Lankinen or Saros, who are you keeping long term? If you're who's the bald guy in Nashville? He used to be the coach, now he's the GM.
Barry Trotz.
Trotz, thank you.
Yeah.
If you're Trotz, knowing what you know now, 6 months, who are you giving the long term deal to? Lankinen or Saros?
How long's a long-term deal? Because I don't want to give long-term deals to either of them.
Well,
Yeah.
Saros got a 7.7 for 8 years.
Yeah, I'm not giving Saros
No.
that.
That's a bad contract.
Like, honestly, even right now, Lankinen's been as good as he is. I'll be pretty upset if the Canucks go more than 4 years on him.
Well, it's a different beast. Lankinen or Saros? Who you want long term?
Like, okay.
Forget the deal. Who do you want long term? Lankinen or Saros?
Probably Saros
probably
if I'm like
Saros.
trying to do what Nashville was redoing.
Right. Now, crunch the numbers last night.
Let's
Okay.
hear.
They are both 1995 birth years.
29 years old this year.
Bingo. UC Saros has only been the starter for the last 3 seasons. Before that, he was a 50-50 split. So I threw all that away when he was splitting the net with Rene.
Okay.
In his 3 years as a starter, he has played 60-plus games for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Averaged 35 wins
Yep.
with a 59% win percentage,
Nice.
2.73 goals against average, and a 914 save percentage. All of that was well above league average for all 3 seasons.
Yes.
I was gonna say those are
yeah.
great numbers.
I think they've been a playoff team for 2 of those years,
Yes.
including last year, which was that was a one-off. That was crazy. 2021, his first year as the starter when Rene retired. He would 67 games started, 67 games played. Second in wins, and he was only 1 back. He was 8th in save percentage, 15th in goals against average, all-star, 3rd in the Vezina.
He had a phenomenal season.
2022-2023.
Yep.
63 games started, 64 games played. So it means he was
Pulled once.
No, he came in relief once.
Oh, he came in relief once. Yeah.
So that means he never got pulled. 2 straight seasons.
Wow.
7th in wins. He was 7 wins back from first place, which is, but still top 10.
Yep.
8th in save percentage, 17th goals against average. All-star, 4th in Vezina, 20th for the Hart Trophy, which I feel like is
Huge. For a goalie.
20th. Don't get me wrong, like that's way far back, but to get mentioned as a goalie when you didn't even win the Vezina is interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Last year, the summer he signed the deal. This last year on his expiring deal, first in games started and games played for the 3rd straight year.
Mhm.
64 games started, 64 games played. Hasn't been pulled once in 3 seasons.
It's really something.
It's quite a stat.
6th in wins, only 3 back from first.
Yep.
23rd in save percentage, 26th in goals against average. Not his best. Closer to the league average, but was still above it.
Yep.
All-star, 5th in Vezina. How do you not sign that guy long term when he's sitting there with an expiring deal? Because he is your decor. He is your defense. He is your team.
I agree entirely. I don't think that they should have taken one or the other. I think they should have signed both and found the money elsewhere and probably not
I
signed
agree.
one of their
Stamkos.
many.
Don't sign Stamkos.
Yeah, or
Much so.
no, who's the D-man they picked up for 7 frickin' years? It was a 4-year deal, but it was at $7 million.
He's
Is where
having-
I'm getting the 7.
He's having
and it
PK
was Brady
Subban
Shea.
flashbacks. It's too much of a scar.
Yeah, it's Brady Shea. Why are you giving that guy 7x4 when you're in like a definitive retool era?
Because they're not. Like, clearly they decided they're not, right? That's why you sign UC Saros to a long-term deal, because it doesn't matter what the end of it looks like. That's why you sign Steven Stamkos. That's why you sign Jonathan Marchessault, Ryan O'Reilly. They clearly decided they're going to go for it. And
Also, Brady Shea is the most handsome man in the NHL. So whatever he asks for, you're just going to fall in love with him and give it to him.
Okay.
all right.
I'm
But
a
after
lesbian,
those
so-
3 years of Saros as your starter, you're giving him that long-term deal. You're picking him. And if Ascarov's got an issue with it, that's his deal.
Fucking touch of gray over there. Jesus Christ.
Guy's looking like Brock Nelson.
Okay, when he was younger, he's not aged.
Dude looks
well.
like Doctor Strange.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, I'm picking
Yeah,
Saros
yeah.
over. I like, with all due respect to Lankinen. How do you say his name?
Lankinen?
Lankinen, yeah.
Yeah, this is the Canucks are his third or fourth team in like 6 years.
Yeah.
He was on the Hawks. He was terrible. Now, remember
and,
this?
And
Go ahead.
I agree. I would have traded Lankinen. But
Yeah.
my whole problem with the Nashville moves this summer was dumping Askarov because he asked for a bigger role in the franchise when he's like already early 20s and he played a great AHL season. He has the right to be like, hey, give me some goddamn starts.
I think my problem is that they went all in after a season where it's like, hey, that was like weird. Like, don't
and
go on that.
But you know what? The biggest problem with Nashville, we've talked about it here before, is that they abandoned the identity that made them such a plucky team last year.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I don't think that prioritizing Saros over Lankinen was a bad bet to make at all.
No.
But it's certainly for a team that's had a lot of bad looks this year. It's another bad.
It's
look.
another pie in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't disagree with getting rid of Lankinen at all. To be honest with you, Lankinen's not on Team Finland if Korpisalo wasn't injured. And the only reason he's getting the start is because he's been playing so well for Vancouver. And the only reason he's been playing for Vancouver is because Demko's injured.
Well, and because Saros let in 6 goals, including a couple bad ones.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was
like-
that was tough.
Like,
He
let's-
came out of the third just not focused.
No.
It was, ugh.
Let's not get confused. Lankinen is the beneficiary of a bad situation in every place he goes.
Yeah.
But
Lankinen in his career, I had he's averaged 10 wins, 47 win percentage, 9-12, and a 2.785 GAA.
I mean, 9-12 is not too shabby.
That's
anywhere,
not
though.
bad, but like it's just like he's
That was with his time with Nashville.
Right.
Not with Chicago. Chicago will bring him way
Well,
down
yeah.
when he started.
I mean, yeah.
Chicago brings everyone way down.
I mean, honestly, I know that the Canucks kind of just shored up their defense a little bit. Elias Pettersson has been great, and Marcus Pettersson as well. But the fact that he's been posting, he's posted a 905 behind that horrific D group has been impressive in itself.
He looked, because I saw him live last week against Detroit when I was in Vancouver, and he looked pretty good, but I wasn't wowed by anything.
Sure.
I mean, it was kind of a nothing burger matchup. It was Alex Lyon versus Lankinen.
Yeah. Oh, heater.
Yeah, heater, right? You know, and it was okay. He looked all right. He looked good. He looked like he belonged.
Yeah. So, Jackson, it's a good time to have you on this week. Our resident Detroit Red Wings fan, they have been one of the hottest teams in the league. You know, they had the 7-win streak and now another 7-win streak and into a playoff spot. Who would have thought?
Not me.
Really? Okay, good. Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page
That
because
was the most-
definitely not stick talk.
Listen, if you told me in September, I would be like, absolutely, of course. They're just building off what they did last year. Like, this is a good roster.
Yeah.
You know, all they did was add.
Yeah.
But after September and October, November, December, I didn't see it. Didn't see it at all.
You were seeing what we were seeing.
Seeing the
Yeah,
light,
but
brother.
I
Seeing
still
the
think
light.
you guys are seeing wrong, though. It's just that it wasn't the right guy. I like Lalonde. I'm sure he was a fantastic guy. Maybe just not ready to be a head coach, or maybe just not a head coach guy.
So you're still pretty set that the future is bright in Detroit, yeah?
Of course. Oh yeah. Well, first of all, you got to have faith in your squad. Otherwise, what's the point? You know,
Valid.
They'll be jumping around just so sad.
I mean, I'm a Canucks fan, and it's pretty sad. I'm not
I
gonna lie.
But you guys have had moments. Like, there's the
I know.
genuine hype, you know.
I was a Devils fan through all of the 2010s. I know pain.
You guys went to the Stanley
You went to
Cup
the
final.
finals, yeah.
What are you talking
He's
about?
Yeah,
up
but then
there.
we were absolute asinine through like
I hate the Devils
13
so much.
through 20.
I cannot stand
We had
that
7
franchise.
bad years.
The worst
like-
parts of hockey was what the Devils brought to the NHL in the 90s. I absolutely hate the Devils.
I
You're
mean,
welcome.
you know what? Look, the best part about being a Canucks fan in the last 15 years has been 3 wins in the second round against the Oilers. So both y'all can relax.
I thought you were going to say Jet Black Jim Benning, but all right.
Certainly not. A quote came out from him this week someone quoted him talking about Tanev,
Yeah, I saw that.
calling him soft as baby poop
Yeah.
when they let him go, and it's
Yeah.
like
You're an idiot.
I
You're an idiot.
yeah, that might be my most hated man in history. Also,
That's
speaking of, Louis Eriksson finally hung it up this week.
Yeah, good for him.
You're elite, Louis.
One more time for the fans in the back.
Up the nose. Up the nose. Like, what the hell? Can you believe that the Bruins won a cup with Chiarelli and Benning at the helm as the AGM?
No.
Shocking.
I like that actually just infuriates me. Jim Benning, I swear, sabotage. It's pure sabotage.
Could be.
It might be a stretch.
But-
Okay, so Detroit, do you want them to like add at this point? Like, are you like
No.
deadline season's coming up? Are you like on the kind of go for it now that you're in a playoff spot world?
Not go for it at all. Even if they get to make first round, it'll be like Washington last year. They get swept in 4 and say, hey, great to be here. Thanks for having us. Peace.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs here. It's too tight between Ottawa. Like the Atlantic is just
Yeah.
like right now the race is between Ottawa, Tampa, Detroit.
Yeah.
And I think Detroit's got a better roster than than Ottawa. Did I mention I hate the Sens?
You did, yeah.
But Ottawa's just too much on a heater, and God, there's nobody in the NHL like Brady Tkachuk. He is just
That's
He's
my
something else.
captain. Like, if I
You're-
could, I love that dude.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, he's
no, he's not my captain,
what are
but
you
like,
talking about?
no, we have Nico Heischer, but like,
jumping
it-
ship now.
no, but like,
The other red black team.
I so wish that Nico Heischer just had more of that Brady attitude.
That dog.
That dog, you know, like
Yeah.
he's so rabid all the time. And sometimes I watch Heischer play, and I'm like, God, just push him back.
Dude,
just once, have
nobody's
some
got that
pushback,
Tkachuk
God.
attitude. Like nobody
Yeah.
else is forged in that oven. That is like my dad was an NHL player and to play against, and I'm gonna be worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
100%.
Except Domi.
Well, have you ever seen? It's funny enough. You ever seen his sister play field hockey?
No.
Take Matthew or Brady and put them on a field hockey field, and it's like Jesus Christ, like settle down.
Oh, that's funny.
But no, I don't think Detroit makes it this year, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Another year being close is fine with me.
So like, do you think that they're going to do that? Because I gotta think at a certain point, playoff revenue's got to be super enticing.
I think the only move they make is they move on from Tarasenko and try and bring in a D-man. Because the decor, you've seen the decor. I think it was like the biggest thing you guys had.
We trashed on them
It's
pretty
terrible
hard.
decor. It's terrible.
But I mean, the
Sider's
hard,
unreal. Edvinson's unreal. Sherrod is
I'm
ass.
cursed by
He's
Oli Mata.
Hall is ass.
Ever
Yeah.
since we like made that episode, Oli Mata's been inescapable.
He's gone. He's not on the
I know, but like
Okay.
even if we talked about him once.
Is he on Team Finland?
yeah,
That's my point.
yes, inescapable.
He's
Oli
literally
Mata.
like I've had to talk about him. Like I was like, I never want to talk about Oli Mata. He's just a nothing burger defenseman. Get him
Yeah.
out of here.
Yeah.
I would have rather kept Mata than like Hall or
Yeah, woof.
Yeah.
The only thing I like about Petrie is that his dad pitched for the Tigers and they won a World Series. Other than that, it's like I don't like.
He's serviceable. Like whatever. You're,
And like the problem is you're saying like, oh, they need to add a defenseman, and it's like, yeah, you and 31 other NHL teams.
Oh, exactly.
Right now.
That's why it's not like gonna happen. The only thing
Yeah.
I can see is because of what's going on with Theodore and Petrolangelo and Vegas possibly could go after Tarasenko. I wouldn't add Tarasenko. I wasn't happy when they signed Tarasenko in the offseason, especially
Yeah.
a 3-year deal.
Yeah, that's
I wanted
crazy.
Kane to get a 3-year deal, not Tarasenko.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's actually
Ugh.
upsetting.
Patrick Kane's still doing it.
He is still
Oh.
doing it.
I'd sooner sign Jacob Vrana to a 3-year deal, and that's saying
Oh my
something.
God.
'cause
He's
that
not
man
even
but
in the
Jacob
NHL.
Vrana is your
He's not even
favorite
in the
player on
KHL.
earth.
He's like in the Swiss league, and he's like a second liner. What are you talking about?
Vrana?
Yeah.
No, he's
Yeah.
in the AHL right now.
Oh, for St. Louis?
No.
He went back to Washington.
Yeah, he got signed to Washington on
Jesus
like
Christ.
he did a PTO and then he got signed and now he has like 12 points but he's back in the A again. They healthy scratched him.
I just hope he's healthy. Holy Jesus.
That's my crash out king.
He's played 25 games for the Washington Capitals this year.
How many
Oh, wow.
points?
11.
There you go.
There you go, indeed.
I like how Vrana didn't work out for Detroit and Mantha didn't work out for Washington.
Vrana and Sammy Blais are going in Trill's like Hall of Fame.
I love those guys for absolutely zero reason other than character players.
Character. Team Czechia incoming.
Anyway, Detroit's not going to add anything because the best parts about this team so far has been the addition of the young core.
Yeah.
Whether it's Edvinson being that number 2D and just like I've never seen someone who's 6'6" be so smooth.
Yeah.
Usually when you get like Chris Pronger, massive man, clunky, jump. Different NHL, don't get me wrong, but like he wasn't like an amazing skater. He was just
Sure.
massive. And they're the same size, and Edvinsson is just silky smooth. The crossovers, transitions, like he's just so good. Like Edvinson's a better D man and will be a better D man than Moritz Seider. And Moritz Seider
Wow.
is the modern Chris Pronger. That guy is a goddamn bully.
Moritz Seider might be one of the most underrated defensemen.
I
in the NHL.
love watching Seider.
Yeah, I do too.
When I went and saw them live last week, I mean that's my favorite thing about watching an NHL game live is you don't have to watch the camera.
Yes.
You can watch the play.
Yeah.
And Seider, like in the back, he's just back shots, picks. You know,
Whole lot of back shots. man.
you were earlier talking about how good it is to blow by a guy, and I'm like, which guy?
I got to imagine you were just absolutely wet watching Axel Sandin Palika at the juniors as well.
That hat trick in the first game.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't wait. I wrote down, like I said, I did the research.
Yeah.
Did my own research.
I love that you come with notes every time. I appreciate that.
I like you guys.
Our most prepared guest, by far.
By
I'm
far.
not your only guest.
That's not true.
Oh,
This season, you're our first guest this season.
You are our first guest this season.
Um,
Oh yeah.
best parts about the Red Wings season this year:
Yeah.
Lucas Raymond, 22 years old, 59 points, 59 points in 55 games. Right now, he's 11th in the NHL in scoring. 22.
Wow.
22.
Yeah, that's pretty spectacular.
Dylan Larkin, the captain, the leader.
Yeah.
Yzerman 2.0.
Wow.
28 years old.
Indeed.
Everyone thinks he's like 30, and it's like, don't get me wrong. By the time
He is like 30.
Hey,
Hey,
now.
whoa, whoa,
He
hey,
is.
Hey, this is episode 97. You and I are the 97 birth years.
That's
We're
right.
27. Would you call us 30? No.
Yeah, I'm 28,
Come
you
on.
dick.
Come on.
I'd call 28 like 30. 28 to 32 is like 30.
God, you're just as bad as my partner.
Anyway, the point is
Y'all old.
about the sticker about
My
10 years ago.
My partner at home and my friggin' partner at the studio are both calling me old. I can't escape it.
27, 2028 Stanley Cup champions. This was when Yzerman got rehired as GM. And it's getting close. So let's say they win in 2027. Larkin will be
Oh, that's-
30.
okay.
That's 2 years away. They could do it. It'd be tough, but they could do it.
Yeah.
Point is, he's still young. Like even when he's going to be in his like early 30s, when I'm envisioning the Red Wings being like a top 10 team in the NHL,
Sure.
Yeah.
he still have the juice. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
let's remember this guy won the fastest skater over Connor McDavid when he was a rookie. This guy is fast. He's going to slow down, but he's going to come down to average.
And I mean, like,
Yeah.
as much as we hop on the narrative of it's a young league and the league's always getting younger and always getting faster, especially in the last 2 years, I've seen more of a place than ever opening up for the 30 pluses. Like, we're seeing longevity carry over. We're seeing guys that are putting up 50 points well into their 33, 34 years.
They're no longer the guy on their team
but they're a serviceable guy.
Oh,
Like,
they're the
a
guys
top
you
six.
need.
Yeah.
to compete to
Like,
be an NHL.
I love Zucker. I feel so bad for the dude being in Buffalo. That guy
It's a
needs to
weird
be
pull.
signed. That dude is
Talk
actually
about Gusev next.
that. Oh God, no! What a joke that was! What a
Go ahead, go
terrible
ahead.
pull.
Tell me about Zucker.
That guy has been quality on some absolute dumpster fire teams
Hmm.
and has never landed a contract on a contender. And it just befuddles me because
See-
I, as like a Devils fan, am foaming at the mouth at the idea of landing Zucker and just plopping him on the third. Like,
Look.
that is so juicy.
Look, yes, I don't disagree, but like, has Zucker ever been a burner?
Oh, it might smoke. I
No,
don't
but
know.
he's
See, here's
like the
here's
Connor
my
Garland
Thing.
2.0.
Here's my thing about a guy like
He's Connor Garland on a
Dylan
bad
Larkin.
team.
Yeah,
Tell me about Larkin so I can get
yeah,
excited.
yeah. No.
I don't want to talk about Zucker.
No, I'm not gonna make you very happy here. It's
Oh.
those guys that scare me. The guys that are so fast, because they're the ones that when they lose a step,
Mm.
it's a lot harder to cover up, right? Like you look at like there's a lot of talk right now about long-term extension for Brock Besser, and they go, well, he's gonna get slower, and it's like Brock Besser's never been that fast to begin with,
Yeah,
and he's made it work.
yeah, he's smart.
And those are the guys that last well into their 30s, right?
Larkin doesn't play with his speed though. It's an aspect of his game, but it's not his game.
But like I think about guys like Joe Thornton. I think about guys even in the NHL right now, the older guys like your Luke Schenns and things like that. Those are guys who never were the fastest guys on the ice.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I see Larkin. I see a 200-foot player. I swear to God, he doesn't rely on his speed.
No,
and you're
I think
right,
you
he
got
doesn't.
you got years still of Dylan Larkin. You're not wrong there.
Larkin's going to be the only old man on this team when they're good.
Yeah.
And it'll be
Yeah.
because
that's fair.
he's going to be sitting in a dressing room in a bunch of like 25. You're going to have like a 27-year-old cider, and they're going to be in a big playoff game. He's be like, when I got here, I played under Henrik goddamn Zetterberg.
Yeah.
Pavel Datsuk.
I mean, there is really something to be said about that, right? Like it's the same thing kind of with Calgary with who's their guys, and Michael Backlund
Yeah.
that played with Iginla.
Yeah.
It's like having that carrier of the culture can be really important.
I think that's been my biggest disappointment for the season is that the Flames have been good, so they're not going to move on from Rasmus Anderson.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a guy at the start of the season I was looking for the Wings to go after.
Right.
And that's who I could see being like, oh, like that's a target for the Wings, but it's not going to happen. They're only adding right now because Calgary thinks they're in a playoff spot. They are in a playoff spot.
Calgary's gonna miss the playoffs.
I don't think
You
Calgary's
just hate Calgary like I hate Ottawa, man.
I do hate Calgary dearly, but like I have a good amount of money on Calgary missing the playoffs.
Anyway, I look at Detroit. I don't think it's like playoffs this year. It's fine. I don't even think playoffs next year. But I look at who this core is going to be, and I'm like Larkin, like I said, 28. Raymond, 22. Sider, 23. Simon Edvinson, 22. Casper, 20. Axel Sandy Pellica, 19. Nate Danielson lighting it up in the AHL, 19.
Yeah.
Branson Nygaard, 18 over in I think he's in Sweden. Anyway,
Yeah.
Kosa, all-star in the NHL. He's going to be in the NHL, like Sebastian Kosa. He was an all-star with the Scarab there this past year. And Matt Murray, funny enough.
Yeah. You also have an unsigned Dylan James in the NCAA, and he's been performing pretty damn well
I
lately.
don't care about him as much. Who's Red Savage, captain of
Red Savage, one of the best names
what a name in hockey.
Yeah,
Dude, he's the captain of
Big time.
Michigan, and they're like one of the best teams in the NCAA right now.
They're nasty.
What a name!
Yeah.
What a name!
I love good hockey names.
He'll probably be a career AHLer, but regardless, like all these guys, like all the guys that Yzerman's drafted are really, really young.
Yeah.
Like it's coming, not yet. The biggest thing though, nobody's talking about. Everyone's talking about Kosa, this massive 6'6" giant. I love Kosa. He's gonna be great. Trey Augustine, Team USA.
Yeah.
He had a tough World Juniors. Good World Juniors. He won the gold.
I like Trey Augustine.
I do too.
This week, I don't know if you saw.
I didn't see. Fill me in, please.
So this season, Trey Augustine won the World Junior Championship. He's the best goalie in college hockey. He was announced yesterday, Friday, the 14th, Valentine's, as a semifinalist for the NCAA Mike Richter Award for the top goaltender. And this is one that this never happens to hockey players. The AAU, it's like Amateur Athletic United States or some shit, Sullivan Award, which is given to the top amateur athlete in the United States. He's a semifinalist.
Wow.
Like,
That's impressive.
As a goalie in college hockey, the future is bright in Detroit. Did you guys see Biz piss in a bottle this week on Spit and Chicklets?
No.
Mid-recording?
Nice.
Yeah.
That a guy.
It's like, what the hell are you doing? Thank you for letting me have a piss break is what I'm saying.
We would never make you do that.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing?
We have standards on this podcast.
Yeah.
And they called him out, too, where they're like, you're pissing in a bottle. And he's like, it's okay, it's a Body Armor bottle. And they're like, that's a sponsor. Don't tell us on the podcast you're pissing in a sponsor's bottle.
Jack Hughes, what's your favorite go-to drink after a game? Oh, probably the Yellow Gato. I'm gonna get in trouble for that.
Yep.
Christ.
All right, last thing I want to wrap up on here. Well, two things. First of all, just on my hater hours here. Calgary Flames are currently not in a playoff spot.
Oh.
They're 3 points behind the Canucks and 8 points behind the Avalanche. And if you think they're taking either of those teams out of the wild card, you don't know, puck.
Craig Conroy doesn't know puck?
The Flames are cooked.
Yeah, Flames are cooked.
The Flames are cooked, and they should be selling. I would be like, as much as I want to say that the Flames are smarter than that, but I don't. I'm not putting myself on that ledge. I'm not opening myself up for that.
No, don't do that.
But I do have a strong inkling that we could see Anderson move. Like, I know that you were very interested in him.
No,
I don't think
yeah.
that's.
They're gonna keep him,
I don't
They're
think that.
definitely keeping him.
Nah, they need so much more depth.
but they're still
to their
stuck with Huberdeau, and like I mean, they
Yeah.
could move on from Uyghur, but they're not gonna.
Kadri.
Wolf is coming up, and Wolf is so good that you're like, okay, we're not gonna try and like they're looking for like 3 years
They're
contention
keeping him.
now.
They're keeping
Yeah,
him.
they're gonna keep it. Unfortunately,
And
God, this team is so much better if Gaudreau and Kachuk had stayed.
Yeah.
So much better.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up here, Finland Sweden is going into overtime. We got a game winner prediction.
Lucas Raymond, my guy.
You know what? I was actually
third star Canada USA, my guy.
I was gonna pick Lucas Raymond in your honor today.
Tell you
So
what.
I'll leave you with that.
You can take Raymond. I'll take Victor Hedman point shot.
Wow.
blast.
Okay.
I'm a pull a name out of the hat that's just a deep pull. We're going Raquel.
Ricard Raquel.
I got that boy.
He's not going to see the ice. It's 3v3.
It's true, he's not, but I like the pick.
What do you mean?
I thought you were gonna go Jesper Bratt for sure.
Oh yeah, I forgot Brett's playing. That's my boy. That's my goddamn
No, too late.
boy.
Your stakes in Ricard Raquel. It's too late.
Lock it in.
Actually,
All right.
no. Change that.
Uh,
I haven't seen Barkov take control of this game yet, but he's looked really close.
he's looked real close.
He's looked real close. I'm going Barkov.
Raymond
'cause
and Hedman
I like
out there
it.
starting.
All right. Well, Jackson, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It was a fun episode this week.
yeah, that was a blast.
Yeah, it was.
That was a good time. You gotta come through more often.
I
Yeah.
hate you didn't say anything that stupid, so I couldn't be like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
Yeah, like honestly, our group chats just get absolutely insanely
Oh,
heated.
they
It's
save-
it's crazy.
well, usually you say something on a podcast, and I'm listening while I'm working, and then I go like, "What the hell was that?"
I
Well,
try
we
and
had
sprinkle
four
in like
nation-
one
we-
juicy take of a
Yeah,
pod.
we had 4 nations this week, so we had
Jason Zucker is the secret sauce. That's the hot take.
Yeah, I'll think. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna come back with some like. I'm gonna come back with 3 pages of notes next week, and I'm gonna do a deep dive on Jason Zucker.
pull up the Jason Zucker highlight reel.
Jason Sucker.
All right. All right.
Sucker, I hardly know her.
Oh, God. As always, I am your host, Tico. This is my co-host.
I'm yours truly.
That's our guest over there.
Thanks for having me.
And as always, keep your dang head up.
Keep your head up.
Cause I'm coming.
Boom.
Boom.
Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick talk. Stick